All right, Crate Clubbers, spring is in the air, and I just got the latest major crate for March 2025, so let's pop this thing open and see what we got this month. What's up guys, Eric here with At Home in the Future, and I'm back with another Crate Club unboxing. If you're unfamiliar with Crate Club, really cool subscription. Lots of like tactical prepping gear, survival stuff, really interesting mix of things. Comes in a few different flavors. There's actually a quarterly box of this one. That goes for about $400 a quarter, and there's also a monthly subscription, which is what we get. There's a few different variants of that. This is the biggest version, the major crate. If you want to get the subscription for yourself, you can follow the link on the screen or down in the description and save yourself a little bit of money. This is one of those that never has any sort of spoilers at all, so it kind of always comes in blind, which makes it really fun to unbox actually. So let's pop this open. One of the smaller crates, which I've noticed over the years, I feel like the smaller boxes tend to have the best stuff. So we'll see if that holds true this month. Here we go. All right, I see food and everything. Let's see if we got a guide or a card. All right, so here is our little overview. We'll take a quick glance at what's inside of this thing. I see a few standouts already. Whoa, all right, that's some big stuff. Lots of stuff in this month, holy cow. Okay, I'm gonna unload everything, then we'll go through it. Here we go. All right, you guys, I think we may have a 3-knife month. Did I count 3? 1, 2, 3. Okay, gosh, we'll get to that in a minute, but that's exciting if you're a knife guy like I am. But let's go through this. Right off the bat, we have from Micromend an emergency skin enclosure. Looks like kind of a take on one of those butterfly bandages that you can kind of pull closed. Let's see, we got 2 of those. You get a little overview of what they look like. I'm actually not going to open this up because I want to be able to use it and keep it sterile. But like I said, it looks like a fancy version of a butterfly closure. It comes with, we got this guide here. Let's see if it tells us anything about it. 8 steps in this thing. Wow, so look at this. It almost looks a little bit like you're putting a staple on something. So it's got metal and stuff included in it. Yeah, it says press down on micro staples. Okay, let me see. I'm going to read through this description real quick. Yeah, it's kind of got makeshift staples built into it. It says it's clinically proven to be 7 times faster than sutures and reduce scarring by 90%. Pretty interesting stuff. All right, moving right along and kind of on the same theme, we have from MyMedic their mini burn mod. Just a little mod thing. So if you've ever gotten a MyMedic first aid kit, mods is the name of the game. They're these color-coded things that have all sorts of medicines and topical meds and bandages and everything, all depending on the type of need you have. The orange is always their fire stuff. I can't remember if this was this subscription or another. A few months ago, we got a big fire kit that had several things of this in it, but this is just a little individual refill for your kits, and this stuff works really well. My daughter actually burned her thumb on her straightening iron a few days ago, and it had some of this stuff, and she said it really made it feel quite a bit better. So just a little value add thing, but a great thing to throw in your kits that you may not already have in there. Let's move on to the next thing. We have ReadyWise Still Lake lasagna with sausage. One of these good dehydrated meals. I have not had ReadyWise's take on lasagna, but I will say of like the Mountain Houses and stuff of the world. The lasagna kits out there tend to be my favorite. Something about these when you reheat them just tends to taste a little bit better than some of the other variants of dehydrated meals you can get. So meat lasagna with pasta and sausage and a cheesy tomato pasta sauce. I will say, I don't know if this is like the Mountain House one, but if you ever had one of those, again, they're super good, but man, that like cheese they use in these just will stick all over whatever utensil you're using to make this thing. Cool. These are great to have, awesome to take camping or hiking. If you haven't had like a hot meal out in the backcountry or just while you're camping and you're just trying to like survive on like canned beans or like protein bars or something like that, this makes a huge quality of life difference. So I like getting stuff like that in these boxes. All right, moving along. So it looks like we got a lot of little stuff in addition to like these bigger ticket items here. So we have from Stansport a mosquito head net. Looks like exactly what you would expect there. That guy looks happy. He doesn't have mosquito bites on him. One size fits all. It's a fine mesh. If you've seen one mosquito net, you have seen them all. Let's see, I bet it's got some sort of elastic closure. So here you go, just your standard mosquito net. We do have maybe a bare minimum amount of elastic at the bottom. I guess you don't want that tight in your neck or anything. And then you have this little cap that kind of sits on your head, but meant to be really lightweight and like there's nothing there. These can make a big difference though, especially I've noticed more if you're trying to sleep in a hammock at night during the summer. Again, I'm not a big summer camper. I'm more of a spring and fall guy. That's the times of the year I like to be out there. But this stuff, anyway, if you are out during the summer, you're trying to sleep, this thing can make a lot of difference in getting stuff off your head, which is nice, especially when you're trying to sleep at night and you don't want to feel that stuff just all over you. So, all right, here we go. Something out of all these subscription boxes, I've been doing this for years for you guys in this channel. I don't think I've ever had a razor in one of these. So we have a 6-shooter shaving AR6SS razor. It says it's an ergonomic-ish handle designed to be unique, make it fun to use. I wonder if it's supposed to look like an AR. Let's open this thing up. Maybe it's supposed to look like the barrel of a rifle. That's my assumption here. It's hard to tell from the picture. Oh yeah, that's really funny. So you got, let's see, looks like a 3-blade razor on there, probably just replaceable cartridges and stuff on that, but just done up with an AR barrel. Kind of fun, definitely on par with the type of stuff that tends to come in this box as far as just like the theme and stuff. Maybe just a little bit goofy, or maybe totally awesome, just depending on how much of a gun guy you are. I'm guessing they have refills and everything else available on their site. Compact design makes it easy to pack in your travel bag. I don't think I'd try to fly with that, just given what it is. You may get a little bit of an extra inspection at the airport, I don't know. Okay, that's a fun one. Moving along, all right, let's get to the blades, right? So from Outdoor Edge, we have the Razor VX1, which looks to be just an EDC knife. Let's see, I think that's this one. I don't think I'm aware of Razor making something like this. Let's take a look. It looked like it had a unique lock system on it. It may just be a button lock or just their version of it. All right, so we got a little bit of paperwork here on the inside. We've got a little baggie. It does look like we have replaceable blades. I was gonna wonder if that was one of these, but it didn't look like it from the picture. We'll see. So we have a flipper. Oh, interesting. So you had the blade where it is built in and replaceable here, but done in a typical kind of EDC knife way. And is this, no, it is a liner lock. Okay, so it's a liner lock knife. Pretty smooth for what it is. Something about flipping that out with the replaceable blades makes me a little bit worried. I'm sure I have no real basis in reality for this, but I'm worried you flip this thing out and that blade would come flying out of there. I was gonna say you have two different shapes, but I think that's actually both the same kind of drop point style cutout on there for this. I do like the idea of being able to replace that though. It's probably easier a lot of times than sharpening stuff, especially once you start getting chips and stuff in it. It is vented stainless steel liners, anodized aluminum handle, reverse deep carry clip. I like it. 420 stainless steel, 3.7 ounces. Yeah, for what it is, being like a replaceable blade and everything, the weight is right. I'm curious, I guess this button has something to do with how the interior blade comes out. I'd have to look here at the instructions to figure out more about that. But all right, interesting. That is not what I expected at first glance, but is something a little bit different. Fairly smooth, a little bit of closing it up. It feels like it's got a little bit more, or a little grit in the action there, but open it up, it opens pretty well. So interesting. I have not seen a replaceable blade take on the standard EDC knife, especially like a flipper. So cool. All right, so we had the K-Tech Karambit designed by Doug Markida. Something I feel like we see in the subscription quite a bit. Blades from this renowned knife guy. If you are in knife world or follow any of those shows where these folks make knives and stuff, you're probably into this sort of thing. Maybe the 4th Karambit over the years I've received in my subscriptions. Okay. Some nice packaging, got a nice belt clip there. Cool looking blade, got a little bit of jimping on the back. Seems to be full tang, let's see, yeah. Full tang the whole way down. Look at this little mean guy. Didn't catch what kind of steel it is. It is D2 steel, just looking here at the instructions. It's very comfortable as far as Karambits go and everything. These can be pretty mean as far as fighting and self-defense style applications go. And you got this cool sheath for it. Again, my only issue with Karambits always is I feel like I can carry a standard pocket knife or even a bigger fixed blade like around the campground stuff. Whenever you pull something like this out, I feel like you get some looks. If you're trying to blend in or look more like a normie instead of, well, a knife head or a prepper, but cool. All right, second blade of the month right there. 8.15 inches, TPE overmold handle, injected sheath. I like it, cool, that's a bad boy right there. All right, last but not least is another brand we've seen several times in the sub, Dead Fish. Actually, no, we got another item. Where did I put it? Buried under here. Okay, we do have a squatch rope, which is a hemp fire starter. I've had one of these before. I do like these. You can kind of peel this layer back, cut off some chunks of it and kind of fluff it up and get some nice tinder, especially good if you like to start stuff with a ferro rod where you're throwing sparks on it. This thing takes sparks really, really well, and you get a lot of uses out of this, depending on how long it takes you to start and build your fire after you kind of chop this thing up. But windproof, waterproof, non-toxic, lights in all sorts of different conditions. It says 50 fires from one rope. Again, that just depends how much tinder you like to start your fire with, but these can be a lot of fun. All right, squatch rope is in there too. Lots of like little things this month, which I actually do enjoy though. It didn't always have to be like big chunks of gear. Lots of different products this month to get exposed to. And last but not least, from Dead Fish, we have the Macrea fixed blade knife. Let's get this thing opened up. And I actually feel like I may have seen this one before in another sub, because I remember like the really distinctive patterning there on the side of the blade. Dead Fish always goes with super rad packaging. So we'll open this up. We do have a nice leather sheath. Well, I think leather, or at least let's see. Smells like leather, feels like leather. All right, let's take this out. Sometimes when they have all this plastic on them, that means they're nice and greasy. This one doesn't look too bad. It has some greasy boys in the past. Okay, so look at this thing. Really interesting shape on this. Cool, primitive carved wood handle, full tang knife. It's funny, it's a primitive look, but actually a very modern feel. No jimping or anything on the back, but just the huge thick tang right here makes for a mean little profile. And a little bit, almost like a weird shaped Tonto edge on it and stuff too. Nice hardware, you got spots for a lanyard there in the end. For a knife that looks as unique and distinct as this, it's actually a very comfortable little fixed blade here. 3.5 inches, VG10 steel, which is fantastic. Fairly hard for what it is, 60 or 62 HRC, Italian olive wood, actual wood, not just wood looking plastic or stuff. Sometimes you'll see that in these. And I feel like this one, again, this has made it through my collection here before, which I feel like darker handles on. This one is, at least the olive wood that came with this is a little bit lighter. But very pretty. You can see how that light catches all the indentations in the blade. Something that almost feels as at home in like a kitchen or maybe a rustic kitchen as it does around the fire pit doing stuff with it, but I like it. I like lots of blades in a box. All right, so that is the March 2024 Major Crate from Crate Club. We've got the Deadfish Macrae, we've got a Squatch Rope, we've got a Carom bit from Doug Mercado, we've got an Outdoor Edge replaceable razor EDC knife, we have an actual face razor from 6-shooter made out of an AR barrel. We've got a mosquito head net, we've got lasagna to eat, we've got a burn gel mod, and we got some stitches for when you cut yourself into these knives. So cool month here in Crate Club. Again, if you want to get the subscription for yourself, you can follow the link on the screen or down in the description and save yourself some cash. If you're into this sort of gear at all, it's just hard to beat the mix of stuff that comes in these. If you like sharpening stuff, prepping stuff, or just outdoors gear in general, this is a really cool subscription to get. All right, guys, that's it for this month's unboxing. As always, if you dug the video, be sure to hit the like button because it helps the channel out a ton, and subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. I'll see you guys next time.